Have you ever wondered what would happen if you used to take major places in one state and put them all into one route? Well, that question came to mind when I was asked to do a version of Southeast Georgia. This is a route that was commandeered to me. So basically, it's something that pinpoints a lot of the major places in Southeast Georgia, whether it be CSX or Norfolk Southern. Doesn't matter. But today, we're going to be taking a look into what we can create in TRS-19. Welcome to Southeast Georgia. This episode is brought to you by our Patreons. Without them and their support for the channel, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do, and so a big shout out to them. So, if you want to become a Patreon and help support the channel, then please check out the link in the description below. Thank you to Craig Bishop, Jesse Long, David Holland, CJ, and Flame Rails. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Southeast Georgia. Now a little bit of an insight on Southeast Georgia, and the reason why we're doing it anyway. This route was basically commandeered to me by DC 2057, and he wanted something that made him feel at home, and also somewhere where he could run fast-paced trains, because, you know, he does those live streams and stuff like that. So, this is what we came up with. What if you put a bunch of real-life places, mixed them in together on a fictional-based route, and brought it into trains? That's kind of what the idea of this is. This is Southeast Georgia. Southeast Georgia, the original route was made on the Trainz Mobile, and when he tried playing on it, it didn't really look to par with TRS-19. And this is also basically a learning curve for me to learn TRS-19. I tried doing a TRS-19 series before, but I was using some older stuff and that just really didn't look well. And I might go back to that series, but I'd have to redo a couple of things that I've already done, or just completely start over from scratch, maybe sometime in the future. This series is basically taking a break from the mountainized areas, which, don't get me wrong, Georgia has mountains. It's on the bottom end of the Appalachian Mountains. So, yeah, there's going to be a few hills and stuff like that, but that's not what I mean. Getting out of that mountainization areas where I have to do a lot of terraforming. In this, I don't have to do as much terraforming as we do on the Conway and stuff like that. Which, speaking of which, the Conway is actually changed its due date from the 27th to December 20th. And so, exactly a month from now, the Conway will be releasing. Guaranteed, or not guaranteed, just all depending on if everything goes well with the current and future betas, and all depending on when Chance gets his project done. Because if we have to, we will push it back until Chance gets his project done. With all that being said, going back to this route. So, in this first episode, as you can tell as it's named, Folkston, it's not going to look exactly like Folkston, and that's the point. It's not supposed to look exactly like Folkston. It's basically going to be like, what if you took a giant 1,500-foot mirror and put it right in front of Folkston? This is basically what it would look like. A mirrored version of Folkston in its own way, and in its own WIT way anyway. This build that we're doing today for the small city area of Folkston will not be finished in this episode. This is basically just part 1. Part 2 will basically be finished in the next episode. And don't worry, it's not going to be a sporadic 2-week thing. I'm going to be taking a break from live streaming this weekend, and we're going to be having at least 2 episodes per week. And the reason for that is because it's not because it's in a hurry or anything. I'm using this route to basically learn some things for TRS-19. And learn the ways of turf effects, PBR textures, and fun stuff like that. That's the whole basic premise of it anyway. And the reason that we're doing it like that is because, honestly, I just wanted something to really take my mind off of these. And then when DC 2057 came to me with this project idea, of course, I thought I would take it. Originally, I was going to redo the one that's on the DLS, but that is just too... I don't want to say that it's bad, because it's not bad for something that was made in Trainz Mobile, but it's not something that I could really get into in, per se, a building. So I jotted down some ideas and came up with this. Put a lot of major known areas, whether it be CSX or Norfolk Southern, it does not matter. You can have either or. And put a bunch of their very known areas that's in Georgia, throw them all together on a route, and put some other fictional things in there as well. And that's the whole basic premise of it. And I didn't want everything to look completely like their real life counterparts. They're all going to have their own little twists, they're going to have their own little turns, their own little mixes in there that makes them unique in their own personal way. And so, that's why the idea of Folkston came about. And, of course, we had to look into some different things, like what could fit into the place of the actual lookout. And this little station platform came right in handy. I think the platform was actually made like back for TRS 2006 or 2004. It might be older than that, but it really caught my attention of what I wanted, and really it fits well. As of right now, as of this recording, I don't know if there is a more higher depth or higher detailed version of it out there that I could put in place of it, but at the current time, that's what we'll have to work with. Now, as you guys just saw with the caboose, of course, if you guys know Folkston, they have cabooses that you can rent out for a weekend, or basically like small hotels. I think there's two of them. One's a chassis system and one's a family lines. Well, there's not a family lines caboose that is free that I know of. And so what I did was, unless it's there's one on the download station, but of course, if you go with the download station, then you have that thing of, you know, it might not be as good as detailed, which I'm not knocking on the download station at all. There's a lot of great detailed things on the download station. Take a look at the Norfolk Southern Hump module, for example. So in this case, I just used two chassis system cabooses. I figured that they would fit as well. Like, if there was a Southern caboose, I could probably use one of them as well, but if you guys know of any high detailed ones that I could replace the other chassis system caboose with, leave a comment down below, and I will definitely take a look in putting that in the next build. I did not set up the TRC crossings as of yet, because I didn't test out the actual crossing mechanisms to see if they worked or not, but as you can see in the cinematics, they do. So I will be going back and fixing those up within this weekend when we get back to building and making the next episode. Now, of course, I wanted things around the tracks to kind of look like its real life counterpart, but again, mirrored. Everything is completely flipped to what it actually looks like in real life. And so instead of the turnout and the buildings and the cabooses and the lookout itself all being on one side, it's on the other. And instead of it going south to the Georgia line, or Florida-Georgia line, it's actually pointing north instead. So I thought that was a nice little tweak to it anyway, to make it in its own personal way, because I didn't want to create a whole thing based off of the CSXA line. this whole area is just based off railroads in southeastern Georgia. All railroading in southeast Georgia. Not just CSX, not just Norfolk Southern. You can have either or. Now, in some places that we're going to model, it might look odd to see Norfolk Southern going through Folkston, but at the same time, you do you. It's really all depending on what your preference is. Heck, you can even do your own railroads through here. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's just all a fictional based thing that's based in southeastern Georgia, and that's really what the idea comes with it. Like, it's just going to be a bunch of real life places that's kind of put into their own spin, their own twist, and then put into their own way. Now I'm putting some grass splines here, and I'm going to be mixing in some other grass, did I say grass splines? Some grass texturing anyway. It's all PBR textures. I'm going to be mixing in my own different grass PBR texture wise things like I do with JVC. I was just getting a standpoint of what I wanted this to kind of look like, and I also put some grass down, but you can barely see it. And I'm using everything that TRS-19 comes with in this, and all the trees are going to move. So I'm working with a lot of different things, and I'm trying to keep performance in mind as well, because I don't want to like throw down 500 different STRMM trees in one little area, like all compact together, because that would just kill frames on even the best computers. And so I ended like, instead of using the which I haven't really took a really in-depth look into it anyway into the turf effects, or the ground effects, or what do they call it? I'm not sure. I think it's either turf effects, or it's part of the turf effects thing anyway. Ground clutter or something like that. Yeah. I haven't took a good look into that. So instead of like having something to put down the trees and stuff for me, I'm putting them down myself. I like hand placing the trees and stuff like that. So I get a kind of this effect of me actually creating this, and I do end up completely scrapping this whole sidewalk idea, because of the whole fact that you can see underneath of it at the crossing. It just kind of looked odd, because I have the track raised on a raised ballast, and because I really liked that look, but I didn't like the sidewalk look. I cannot English this morning, I'm sorry. But we are getting so closer to the cinematics here in about 2 minutes. I'm not going to do this whole in-spit thing that I've been doing on the Conway videos. I'm just going to do it while we're talking, like before the video ends. And of course, the signals that I'm going to be using are on the DLS. Those signals are from JMR. They're really good signals, and so if you guys want to take a look into them off of the DLS, I do highly recommend them. They are great. I've been going to be using them a whole lot in this whole build series as well. In fact, I don't think I will use anything else, unless it might come to searchlight areas, like stuff that I might consider were XL and N, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see when we get there. And to ask, or for questions that might be asked, if you have any in the comments below. First one that I know is like, how long is this route going to be? I don't know. We're just going to basically throw in a bunch of areas of what we think will be nice and fun-filled, and this is just going to be a fun little series to work on before we get to our next major series. And this series isn't going to last as long as the Conway, which is why it's going to be like 2 or 3 different episodes per week. It's all depending on how much I get to record on the weekends, and basically it's just, let's see how far we can go. And the next major series is, no matter what, starting in January. So we have until then to see how far we get with this. Which, either way, I do plan on finishing it. I'm not just gonna, well, it's January, let's just throw it out there and let y'all have it. No, I want to get it as detailed as possible, like I did with the Conway, and its own right. Like, you guys will see this area a lot in the cinematics. That area I spent 3 hours on, just because I wanted to, I guess. Some farmland in there, you know. There's some farms everywhere. You never know. Like, some flat areas might have some farmland in Georgia. I don't know. I'm not from Georgia, but Z and them tell me that there was some cotton fields and stuff like that. So we could say that it was one of them or something else. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to see more, check out the 2 videos that will be at the end of the video. Or the end of this video. One will be an old video, one will be an extreme. But with all that being said, if you guys want to become Patreons and help support the channel, check the link in the description below. But until next time, guys, I will see you on down the line. Enjoy the cinematics. Bye-bye.